Hello and welcome to KU's top news source for politics, KPC News. I'm James Buckley.
And I'm Hannah Thurman.
Our top stories this week are the new trade deal between Mexico, Canada, and the U.S., and a Kavanaugh update. But Hannah, before we get into that, I hear that you can vote online now. What's the deal with that?
Right, so you can vote online through an app, but this is only in one state, and that state is West Virginia. It's letting overseas voters submit their ballots through an online app. There are 24 counties in the state that will use the app votes or incorporated to send in their ballots. The app requires voters to scan their IDs and to take a video of themselves for verification. The chief technologist of the Center for Democracy and Technology told CNN that online voting is a horrific idea, and many other experts are criticizing the state's decision. But West Virginia Secretary of State Mac Warner says that the app is secure. The online ballot will only be available to eligible uniformed service members and overseas voters.
After over a year of negotiations, the U.S., Mexico, and Canada have reached a new trade agreement. The new deal is called the United States-Canada-Mexico Agreement. Originally, President Trump was only going to include Mexico in that deal, but Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau stepped in to bring Canada to the table. According to the New York Times, the U.S. will have a higher threshold to sell auto, cheese, and wine products in Canada and Mexico, which should generate more revenue in these areas for the U.S.
Senator Lindsey Graham is facing criticism after old tweets of his have come back into focus. Graham tweeted a video of himself in 2016 saying that Merrick Garland's reputation is beyond reproach and that he's honest. But he wants to keep the seat open for the next president because the voters should have a say in who gets the next Supreme Court seat. Graham has repeatedly said that the Democrats are delaying the vote on Brett Kavanaugh because of politics and to hope they will regain the seats in the midterm election. Some Twitter users are quoting Graham in his own tweets to attempt to prove his hypocrisy to the senator.
Politico reported on Monday that Texas Senate candidate Beto O'Rourke wrote a column during his time at Columbia University with demeaning comments about women. The column was a review of the play The Will Rogers Follies. In the review, O'Rourke ripped into the play and said it had, quote, perma-smile actresses whose only qualifications seem to be their phenomenally large breasts and tight buttocks. O'Rourke immediately apologized for his comments after the Politico story was published. O'Rourke has also had problems addressing his DUI and trespassing charges from the 1990s. However, 538 still has O'Rourke down only 3 points to Ted Cruz before the election.
Now, this really surprised me that he had said those comments, and I hadn't heard about his DUI at all. So,
yeah.
And you said that he's addressed this and just...
Apparently, and I guess it just blew over.
Yeah,
so.
well, we'll see if that happens with this as well. But into governmental affairs, Congress has passed a stopgap funding for governmental agencies in order to get the funding package that we talked about last week approved to keep the government up and running. President Trump is still pressing for funds for the border wall. This funding will keep the government open till December 7th. If the Democrats win back the House, then Congress may have a tough time coming to an agreement on this border wall, which is something that Trump has been very adamant about. However, Trump says that he has a big decision to make following the midterm elections as to whether the wall is doable.
Following the announcement of an FBI investigation into Brett Kavanaugh's assault allegations, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell has said that the case report won't be public. According to The Hill, only senators will see the full FBI report when it is done. McConnell's second-in-command, Senator John Cornyn, did say that there will most likely be a public statement on the results of the case. There is no set deadline, however, for the investigation, but Republicans have hinted it could be over with by the end of today. So we will see if the truth really does come out.
We will, and I'm not sure if we'll ever get the full truth, but we'll see. The Trump administration has changed the country's ability to grant a visa for foreign diplomats and UN officials. The new policy went into effect this past Monday. The U.S. will no longer provide visas for the partners in the same-sex relationships. If the same-sex couple is married, then the partner may receive a visa. This policy is already stirring some discussion because a handful of countries do not accept same-sex couples. A State Department spokesperson says that heterosexual domestic partners of foreign diplomats and UN officials also are not eligible for U.S. visas unless they are married as well. The new policy will, however, allow for limited exceptions that will help those that come from countries where same-sex marriage and relationships are not recognized.
In local news, Kansas City mayoral candidate Jason Kander has dropped out of the race. Kander announced the end of his campaign in a message on the website Medium. Kander cited PTSD after his time in the military as the main reason for dropping out. In the message, Kander said he has been dealing with PTSD symptoms for 11 years and is just now seeking help. Although he is dropping out, Kander has full intentions of coming back to run for mayor and work with his Let America Vote PAC.
Well, that's all we have for you this evening. Thank you for watching KPC News, and be sure to tune in next time. Until then, I'm Hannah Thurman.
And I'm James Buckley.